All right, what's going on, guys? This is Jack Shaver for this is Project Option E for Business 140. Contemporary legal issues for this project. I chose Bernie Madoff versus the United States. It's a pretty sad one. Like before researching this, my parents had always kind of talked about him, mentioned his name, whatever. But after actually like looking into it, it was super sad. Kind of just proves that money isn't everything, and when people make it their whole life, it pretty much ruins their whole life. I'm not saying having money isn't cool, but too much of it can make you pretty messed up, I feel like. So we'll start off. I'm going to just go through this thing right here. We got all the questions, allegations, whatever. And then I will go through. So, it was the United States versus Bernie Madoff. And he basically did one of the biggest Ponzi schemes in the entire, I think it was the biggest Ponzi scheme actually in the entire world. This particular one he was $65 billion in debt, or it was basically like not real money because he was lying. What he did was, because he was a he was a chairman for NASDAQ. He was able to get in with a ton of people. And I would want a NASDAQ chairman as my, personal investor. And instead of actually using, real money and investing it for people, he pretty much lied and, would tell people that their returns are insanely higher than they actually were. And he did this for probably, I think it was about 20 years. That was pretty much the entire scheme. A lot of the investors he worked with were high wealth individuals from LA, actors, like Hollywood, Hollywood star people, like you name it, he was probably working with them. He had about 4,800 clients, and that's why he was able to, become $65 billion upside down, if you will. And so in 2009, he pleaded guilty, actually, in the court, and was charged with 11 federal felonies, which is pretty insane. Some of these are security fraud, basically a bunch of fraud: security fraud, mail fraud, wire fraud, money laundering, and perjury. 11 federal felonies, which is kind of mind-boggling, and this got him 150 years in federal prison. It's about twice the lifetime of like a normal human, so he definitely wasn't getting out in time. Before he died, he did die in prison at like 82. I think it was in 2021, April 2021 is when he died. And so, pretty much the arguments on his side was, like I said earlier, that he was a NASDAQ chairman, and that's how he was able to get such high profile people to invest with him. But after 20 years, something had to change, and during the 2008 stock market crash, he needed to give back $7 billion that he obviously didn't have. He was worth a lot of money, and he maybe could have gotten away with it if he had $7 billion, but probably not. He was actually on a trip to the French Riviera, which he had a house there. And when he came home, the FBI was at his door waiting, and obviously they penalized him big time for it. Yeah, so basically that stock market crash was not good for a lot of people, and it also was very bad for him. And yeah, that's how he got 150 years in jail, or I guess federal prison. Um, and he actually asked to get let out before he died when he was getting sick, and he said, quote, "I don't want to spend my last moments in jail," but obviously they didn't let him out, because you never know what that guy would have done. If we're talking about what he did in the past, no one's going to let him out. So I have a couple of quotes here I used the U.S. Department of Justice archives, and then the Department of Justice U.S. Attorney's Office, as well as FBI.gov, just basic, websites, but super informative. Where's the other quote? Yeah, it was super sad. Almost 5,000 people were involved. He also involved charities, charities trying to do good stuff, and obviously, didn't uphold his end of the deal. I think this is a quote, I believe, from the FBI.gov. It says Madoff's Ponzi scheme was the largest in history. And then this is a quote. This is just reiterating from the DOJ. Let me see. It's the Attorney's Office. They said charges included security frauds, investment advisor fraud. I didn't say that earlier. Didn't include that one. Money laundering, wire fraud, mail fraud, perjury, and theft as well from an employee benefit plan, of which he pleaded guilty to. And it's crazy because his scheme was so big that the U.S. government actually gave back to the people. Normally they don't do that, right? They just kind of forget about it. But it was so big that the government even put out money for the people that lost money, probably in the stock market crash and whatnot. And the total ended up being $160 million that they gave out to people that Madoff, I would say effed over, but that's not appropriate for school. But I'll say it anyway. Yeah, it's pretty sad. That's pretty much it, though. The United States versus Bernie Madoff, the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. Thank you guys for watching.